hitting on unforgiveness. So what is it? This is what we've come up with. It's withholding love, grace, and freedom from both you primarily and another. It's taking vengeance and judgment into our own hands, our own personal block to us being forgiven, according to Mark 11 and Matthew 6.
I think a good definition for unforgiveness is a grieving over injustice. And there's injustice all around us in our small human minds. We have to try and understand that. And so unforgiveness, sometimes even unknowingly, we have to put the blame on someone because we have to make sense of it. But the problem with that is that doesn't bring justice. It doesn't bring a solution. It really only compounds the problem because it's us taking our focus off of the only one who can bring justice, and that's God. Yes, injustice is worth grieving over, but we aren't the ones that have the power to bring justice.
So let's talk about how does it come in. Someone's been wronged, someone hurt you, and now there's a decision that we're consciously making for them to pay. Essentially, it's us believing that punishment is stronger than love. Lack of trust that God will handle it. Almost like this feeling of if I let go, what will happen?
I think I'd be safe to say that if someone has trouble with forgiveness,
they
probably have a hard time believing that God has a radical love for them, that he will fight for them, that he will defend them, and that if allowed, he will bring justice on their behalf. And it does. It goes back to your theology. It goes back to your union with God. Do I trust him? Do I know him? When I know him, when I believe that he's good and that he's always working on my behalf, I'm free to let go. I'm free to forgive because he's forgiven me. Anytime I've been wronged and I go back to truth, I run back to the Father. You know what he always says every time? I know that hurt, baby girl. It hurt me too. I know it hurts, but how many times have I forgiven you? How many times have I given you mercy? You've got to forgive and give mercy to them. You've received mercy. You've got to freely give it. If I want it and he's given it to me, I can't withhold it from someone else. That conversation with him, keeping my heart open with him, is the only way that I can do it. It's the only way I can have the power because I get his perspective. I'm reminded of, wow, Lord, yes, you have set me free. You have forgiven me. You have given me mercy when I didn't deserve it. It softens your heart to that person and you see them the way God sees them.
Not only are people withholding forgiveness from others, but they first withhold it from themselves. We are holding ourselves to a higher standard than Christ because he's forgiven us, but now we haven't forgiven ourselves.
It goes back to establishing yourself in truth and receiving the love of the Father. You have not fully received his love if you can't forgive yourself, because when you're in his presence, you really have your heart naked before him. He has nothing to say but, I love you. I don't hold that against you. I don't remember your past. That's just what he constantly tells us when we're in his presence. Those waves of just continual radical love that doesn't make sense. You haven't forgiven yourself. You've got to go there because it's amazing. And when you leave that place, don't pick it back up when you come out of his presence. Don't pick up that ball and chain. Stop allowing the devil and stop allowing yourself to hold it against yourself. You've got to trust yourself because he has.
Family, marriage, siblings, sometimes the people we're closest to hurt us the most.
I think there's two types of forgiveness, two ways that this plays out in our lives. First one is like a past memory, something that happened to you, a wound, a scar. That's number one. And the second one is what you just said, just your family, your husband, your wife. It's a continual choice to forgive, right? Because they're constantly hurting us. It's not like you can just cut them out of your life like we do a lot of people that hurt us from the past. Right. We just don't have to see them every day. We don't have to have these constant relationships. So I'm married. I've been married for 10 years. And, my husband, and I love him to pieces. But, we both constantly hurt each other, right? He constantly does things that hurt me. I want to speak into this because I saw that comment as well. I had a blowout with my sister today. This is common. What does God say about that? What is the solution? He has a solution. He's brilliant. And here is what he's shown me at this point in my life. I'll use my husband for an example. He does something that hurts me, says something, treats me a certain way. I feel misunderstood, rejected, unloved, whatever. And our human flesh says, well, he needs to pay for that, and storms out of the house or gives the silent treatment for a week or whatever it is that, we do to make them hurt too. But what if instead I say, Lord, what just triggered him or me? What just triggered him? Why am I so upset right now? Why did that hurt so much, what he just said? Or my sister, what is it that triggered me? Instead of engaging in this, this big blow up, just maybe you do need to walk away. Maybe you do need to hang up the phone, give yourself a couple of days. But ask the Lord, what is it that triggered me? And then can you come and disarm that? Can you come and heal that hurt? Probably it's stemming back to something that hurt in the past. And I've learned that. Everything that I get triggered by my husband is something that happened in my childhood, The answer is not to divorce. The answer is not to cut your family out of your life. And I've seen that time and again in my family, just because they don't know how to break that cycle. The reason we fight with them so much is because they remind us of the hurt inside of us. Strangers, it's easy to be friends with strangers because you don't have to let them. But the people that you're close to, they bring up the hurt because guess what? God's trying to heal that hurt in you. So instead of letting these triggers just build on top and unforgiveness build and build and build and build and to where you're a mess and a landmine, recognize that, okay, this is coming up. I'm just triggered because the Lord wants to bring something up and he wants to heal me. Every time I walk away from my husband or whatever it was that hurt, and say, what do you say about this, Lord? And he'll tell me. And if my husband did do something that maybe wasn't right, or that person told me that maybe wasn't right, or vice versa, what the Lord will say, you have the power to forgive.
That's so good.
You can show them love the way that I've shown you.
Bottom line, here's the deal. We live from the cross. Jesus said, forgive them, they know not what they do. He modeled that. His forgiveness has set us free. He forgave, we forgive. He canceled debts, we canceled debts. We pull from his strength. We pull from the union with him. It's him really doing it through us.
Absolutely.
Right? 5 common snares to unforgiveness: betrayal, false accusation, rejection, abuse, and humiliation. There could be others, but when you think of those 5, he went through them all. He mastered them all. So he gives us ability to live triumphantly over them all. Know that what they did wasn't right. Listen, some people have gone through big trauma. I'm not minimizing, but sometimes we get hurt by the littlest things. He had the world on him.
When we carry around unforgiveness, which is all rooted in wounds and lies.
Yes.
If I'm carrying those things and not releasing people from my past, there's 100% chance I'm doing one thing, and that is paying it forward and hurting people that I love that are in my life.
Absolutely.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, because if you're operating out of wounds and lies and not truth, the people that are close in your life, they might be next. That relationship that you have with them that you value, it might be the next one that's broken. If
we don't nip it in the butt and break it and release it, everybody pays.
You have to remember Ephesians 6:12 when you are, in the heat of a moment with someone. I don't battle against flesh and blood. The devil wants to come and divide. He wants divorce. He wants broken relationships. Of course, you have an enemy you're fighting, and you're not fighting that person that you love, or that person that hurt. You're not fighting them. You got to go back and you've got to say, Lord, give me your heart for this person. I can't stand this person right now. I want to strangle this person right now. But Lord, give me your heart for them.
The world would say, don't forgive, but we don't live by the rules of the world. We are citizens of heaven. He's asking us and commanding it for our freedom. And just a couple of ways that I have led people to freedom, and also how I've experienced on my end. You could simply say, I choose to release this person into your hands, Father. I no longer hold them. I no longer choose to be their judge. Maybe it's, as you say that, seeing the person fully go into the hands of Jesus. I've sometimes watched Jesus take that person lovingly and walk off to the sunset, and I wait until they're gone and I receive the love of the Father. I've done it where people have written the names and what the people have done on a piece of paper, and they tear it. Maybe you toss it in the fire. Maybe you put all the things that someone's done and attach it to a rock and throw it off a bridge. You release it, you put it into the hands of Christ, and you decide that the only thing you're going to pay forward to your family, to your friends, to your business, to your ministry is love. Today is a great day for freedom. And if we're going to be bound to anything, let us be bound to freedom. Thank you for joining us today for the Freedom Series. We continue next week. See you then.